All right, it's a great day to talk about RC crawlers. And I've had a chance to go outside and play with my Gen 7 a little bit. And it's time to do some updates. So let's get into this. The first thing I've noticed with this is it's a lot faster than my Everest 10. And it drains the battery a lot quicker too. And because it's faster, it also likes to roll over. But this has got a lot of stuff on it. It's got a lot of stuff on top. And the way it's designed, it's got a frame in here. It's just a lot of weight. And I would like to get rid of some of that weight, at least until I'm better with it. So I'm going to start by getting rid of this tire. Okay. That's a start. And I wouldn't mind getting rid of the roll cage too on the inside. Looks like there's a couple of screws back here.
4 small screws, 2 on each side.
I couldn't figure out a great way to get the top right off the bat, so I took a couple of screws off out of the back. And that gets the top off. And it looks like they're also the same screws that hold the bumper on and the same screws that partially hold the wheel fairings on. That's fairly heavy. I'm going to start by taking this all the way off. So 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and that comes off. That already makes a big difference. I'm going to put these screws back here so I don't misplace them. Can you hear the school buses in the background? They have finally arrived. And I think I'm even going to put the tire back on and just keep the spare tire with all this stuff too. There we go. And once I get a little bit better, I will put this back on. I might take this inside and weigh it just to see how heavy it is. That is a lot of weight that high up. I was trying to figure out how I could get this to turn sharper. This one has bump stops too, but they're on the back. Is it? The wheels are almost pigeon-toed, and I was thinking about that. So if the front wheels are bent in some, and you're going forward, they're going to be constantly fighting each other. So I was thinking, what would be the difference if the 2 front wheels were pointing in or if the 2 front wheels were pointing out? And if you drew a circle and you had 2 front tires going in a circle, that would be 1 front tire and that would be the other front tire. And they go in this way. If the wheels are pigeon-toed, this wheel is going to want to fight against the circle. That inside wheel is going to be constantly wanting it to go straight. It's going to be constantly wanting to curve it straight. But if you have your front wheels, I'm not going to complete my circle this time so it doesn't look like a tire. But if you had your wheels and they were pointing out a little bit, the inside wheel is going to want to make the circle tighter. So I think if our front wheels were like this, our circle would be a lot tighter. Like I said, you'd have one wheel pointing in some, right? and the other wheel would be straight, which means it would be going tighter. You can hear the way the tires are fighting each other as it turns.
Okay, after this pass, let's get the tape measure out and see how tight the circle really is. So our turn radius is 73.5. Let's see if we can improve that.
So this linkage right here is what keeps the tires aligned. And it's got a big bend in it so that when it's all the way over, it doesn't hit the differential. And I think that's what we need to work on. So if we could make this a little longer, it should help, because it should bend the wheels out some, which means when the wheels are turned at its sharpest, this wheel will be turned more, which means they won't be fighting each other. You really can see how this wheel's turned a lot sharper than this one.
When you look straight down, you can see that.
Let's start by taking the tires off to make it easier to get the suspension pieces. There's just a little screw that holds the tires on, which is extremely easy to get off. You want to be careful not to lose that pin. That pin's what allows you to turn the tires. So the way it works is that pin sticks through the shaft, and that nut ends up there, and that's what makes it turn.
And when I say turn, I don't mean turn the wheels left and right.
And like I said, it's really easy to get these tires off. It's just a little screw. And don't lose the pin. So the next thing I'm probably going to do is see about taking these screws out. I wonder if I could bend that. If it was bent just a tiny bit more, it would make sure that it could never hit the differential. Let's do this so we can make sure we know how much we bent it by. And it looks like in some ways it's got a big bend there and a big bend there. And I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Ooh, that bends easy. A lot easier than I thought it would. So this has greatly increased the bow at the top, which will keep it from hitting our differential.
I'm going to increase the length of this little shaft by just putting 2 washers on each end.
Now, let's see if we can get the other side. If this is our pipe and it's got the bow to the other end, we want to make sure when we put these plastic pieces with the little bushing on it that it pretty much goes straight up and down.
I'm referring to the screws that go through that and hold it in place.
Now you can see straight up and down. Now we need to reinstall this. Now the only thing left to do is to reassemble it. We'll start by putting the little pin back in there. And then the tire simply slides onto it. Now we put the nut on there. Okay, that's nice and tight. Well, the tires have a slight little bow out, which is what we wanted. All right, I'm gonna organize my stuff real quick, and then we're gonna go do that test to see if it turns any sharper. Before it was really fighting the wheels. It's not doing that. What's really weird is how much tighter of a circle it will do in reverse. Isn't that amazing? Let's see how tight it does in reverse. So in reverse, 52.5 in reverse and 73.5 forward. That's a big difference. Well, there's another quiet afternoon tinkering with the RC crawler. I had a lot of fun. The front wheels aren't fighting each other as much as they were, but it's not turning any sharper. But what's really weird is you saw it. 52.5 inches in reverse and 73.5 forward. Can you believe that? 52.5 inches in reverse and 73.5 inches forward. That's 20 inches different. That just shows you how much it's really pushing those front tires forward. Even though it's trying to turn, it's just back tires are pushing. Well, I had a lot of fun playing with this, but it's time for me to wrap it up. So, like, subscribe, check out those playlists, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then.